I received so many questions on how I made this Princess Castle cake for my daughter, so I thought I'd walk you through the process. The first thing I did was bake 2 6-inch cakes and 2 8-inch cakes. I then used my cake pan to cut the tops off the cakes so that they weren't rounded. I then stacked the cakes and filled them with buttercream and used this acrylic disc to make sure that the cakes were level. After your buttercream is set up in the fridge, you'll remove that acrylic disc, but it definitely helps make sure your buttercream is completely level all around and that the top of the cake is flat. Because this is a stacked cake, I made sure I added wooden dowels to the bottom tier for support. I then put fondant on both cakes and stacked them before adding all the little details. To create the castle look, I cut out a strip of fondant and used a square cookie cutter to create this square pattern. I then used a paintbrush to apply a little bit of water to the tops of the cakes to then add this detailing. I then covered a toilet paper tube as well as an ice cream cone with some fondant to create my towers. If you wanted it to be a fully edible cake, you could always create your towers out of Rice Krispie treats. I then used dowels and a little bit of buttercream to make sure that my towers would stay in place. I then added some windows as well as a door and then rolled out some green fondant to create vines to climb up the cake. I used this little flower fondant mold to add all of the flowers and then took a piping bag that was dyed with green buttercream to create all of the leaves. Lastly, I used some gray fondant just to add little pebbles to create the sidewalk. And that's it. I hope I made all of her little princess dreams come true. You can comment cake and I'll send you a list to all of my favorite baking supplies.